Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's podcast. I'm Chrissy, but you know that. And I've got a lovely guest with me, Anne. Hi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm okay, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Busy. We've had a few technical fails today, but nothing that chucking my laptop out the window won't solve.
Oh, that joyous. We love that. Anne is from Mission 365 Coaching. We are part of the same mentorship group, and as you know, I love bringing you other people to talk to because I think it might be quite nice occasionally to break up my voice. But when Anne and I spoke about 2 weeks ago, we came up with a bit of a plan for this podcast, in that we both started talking about menopause and then we decided not to share our stories with each other. We're just going to start talking about our menopause experiences on this podcast. So we're going to learn things about each other in real time here. But what we really want from this podcast is for you to know that what you might be experiencing is part of the natural process, that you're not alone and you're not going crazy. From my point of view, anyway. Anne, why don't you, before we start, tell everyone who you are, what you do, and then we can start talking menopause.
Yes, well, thank you. Thanks for having me on. I'm really looking forward to this, and it's giving me a little chuckle that we're doing this in real time as well. So my name is Anne Stowers. I am the founder of Mission 365 Coaching. I coach predominantly perimenopausal and menopausal women. I am also a CrossFit level 2 coach, a British weightlifting level 1 coach, and I am a nutrition coach as well. So we have it's a bit of a full package from my side of things. Keeps me busy. Absolutely love what I do. Wish there was another 24 hours in the day where I could be awake. Being awake could be good. So yeah, that is me.
Yeah, and you're a mum?
Oh, yeah. Do you know, it's so bad in it. Yes, I am a mother of 2 girls. One just coming up 16, the other one has just turned 12, although you would literally think they are both 16.
Really?
Yes, so both at secondary school. And yeah, let's just say this melting pot of hormones that the house that we live in, they've got a perimenopausal mum and 2 very hormonal teenagers.
I'm just coming into preteen boy, so he's 12 and a half. Yeah, that's fun. Never mind. And we're really similar, so it's like cat and dog sometimes. Anyway, why don't we start with you and your journey into perimenopause and when you realized that's where you were in life?
When I realized, yeah, that was something. It took me so long to realize as well. So there's a little bit of a backstory. I am 46 now, and it probably was around about, I was 41, 42. I'm pretty sure when I first started with perimenopausal symptoms. Did not have a clue whatsoever. Didn't even know that the word perimenopause existed. And I was the most green to anything to do with the menopause. It is unbelievable. It was just never ever on my radar. And when somebody actually said to me, "Oh, it could be the menopause," I reckon that'll have been a good couple of years after I started experiencing symptoms. Maybe the exact dates. I mean, I'm menopausal. I haven't got my memory is terrible, but I do distinctly remember certain symptoms when I reflect back. And what really gets me now, and the reason I do the work I do now, is because I wish I could have turned around when I was experiencing them and kind of gone, that's what that is, right? I know what I'm going to do. I am going to go have a conversation with my GP because I know my age and I know what the NICE guidelines say, etc., and make decisions about my body. So that's what I really, really wish had been available for me, because around about 41, 42, that was kind of pandemic times, and I was going through some massive life changes. I was going through a separation. Pandemic, when, I mean, it was the February that we knew that we were going to separate, and then we lived through the pandemic. So it's kind of putting the context into why I probably ignored a lot of the crippling anxiety. That was probably my most dominant symptom. You're nodding your head, and there's so many women you have this conversation with when you say crippling anxiety, really, really low points, that you actually start questioning, what the fucking hell? Oh, can I swear on here?
Yeah.
Do you do swearies?
Yeah, I do swearies.
And like, and you do, and I'm like, and I literally remember just being like, this is just horrific. And I did access the next steps therapy as well at the same time, because I was just so down, and I knew it wasn't me, but I put it all down to the other things that were going on in my life. Not once did I question my hormones. And then I didn't even question my hormones when I started with night sweats. And it started, and I actually thought some of that was to do with, I was properly overtraining. I was overtraining, underfueling, and just all these things. I just kept brushing it off. I was like, nah, I was like, this isn't me, but I don't know what's going on. So, right, okay, therapy must be the answer. Don't get me wrong, that was amazing. Really, really helped me to basically talk through a lot of things. But again, still didn't really question that it was my hormones. And I think if anyone has listened to any of my other podcasts, and whenever I've told this story, they'll remember a story I tell that was literally the point that I just was like, I have to get more of an answer on this. Was when I had this absolute meltdown in the middle of the night. I thought I couldn't remember whether or not I'd locked the gym, which was 40 minutes away. It was 2 a.m. I woke up proper, you know, when you can unravel in your head within 20 seconds, you can have yourself either under a bus or, you know, the house taken from under you, and, you know, and all this in my head. I was just completely and utterly right. And I got in the car, drove down to the gym, and the door was locked. And I had this meltdown in the car park, literally screaming, like, just going, what the fucking hell is up with me? This isn't me. I'm not this person. This is ridiculous. And and that was nearly a full reenactment as well. And it was that, and I just remember at that point I was like, I don't know what it is, but it just isn't me, and it can't just be to do with. By that point, I'd kind of got through quite a lot of the stuff to do with the divorce and things, and I was like, this is ridiculous. And then had a conversation with the GP, spoke through some of the symptoms, and she did say, you know, it could well be perimenopause. And I at that time I had the coil. I was coming to the end of that, so I had to. There was quite a few conversations that had to happen, and that is where it's quite difficult. And I understand it being really difficult for GPs. You know, they had someone there on the phone that I was like, I need to ask more questions. I really want to get to the bottom of all this. And I kind of came off that call. We hadn't really come to a decision exactly what was going to happen, other than I was going to get my coil replaced, and whether or not that would help with any of the symptoms at that stage. And I really came off the call not really understanding fully what that meant. And it was from that day forwards, I literally, I mean, my business had been named well before that, but it literally was my mission. I was like, this is it. I need to find out more. And this is how a lot of my my interests and my my work has started. It's all kind of started with what I am genuinely interested in, and things that really are part of my life and impact my life. And so then I went out and I just became it just became part of my life, finding out about what perimenopause was, what menopause was, educating myself, talking to as many people as possible. Most of my clients, as I say, are perimenopausal, menopausal, which was fantastic. I got them in a room and I was like, right, I want to talk about this. Tell me your experiences. And then I realized the power of that, of getting people in the room. And it wasn't just about those people in that room. It was, for me, I was like, oh my God, I feel validated. I feel like someone's listening to me. I feel like I am not alone. And that was when I then, went down the route of becoming a certified menopause coach. And that really helped me massively to understand what was going on with my body. And there's kind of even more of pretty graphic things about this story as well, which may end up getting onto, but that for me was kind of my intro into what this was all about for me. And I don't think everybody, not everyone's going to go, make it part of their life. And we need to, like we're having this conversation here. It's giving people space to be able to talk about this so that they know that they're not alone in what they're experiencing. So you're obviously younger than me as well. So what's your kind of experience so far?
So I'm 43, and similarly, I struggle with that word. Let's try again. Similarly to you, it's now only upon reflection back that I think I was probably starting on this journey at about 37.
Wow.
So I don't have the insight of knowing when my mum entered perimenopause, because she had a medical hysterectomy at 28. And her mum passed away when my mum was 20. So I have no maternal experience I can draw on, and I have no paternal experience because my nan on my dad's side died when I was 9. So my mum doesn't know what perimenopause is on a natural, but on a natural level in terms of it how it would have happened naturally for her. And it wasn't until I started training for this career change, and I did my nutrition coaching, and I got to the menopause section of that and started doing female health courses. I was like, all right. Okay.
Like, did you feel quite like, oh God, I feel a bit silly now?
Yeah.
Oh God, this is
I think that happened at about the same time that all the Davina stuff came out as well. And so, it all felt a little bit overwhelming, to be quite honest. But then if I look back, I was, after having my son, I had postnatal depression. So anytime I felt anxiety or I felt low, my GP would push me into, let's get you booked for some CBT and put you back on some antidepressants. And actually what led me to changing career was a huge breakdown, which I'm now convinced was like, similar to you, was just my hormones starting to fluctuate. I really struggled to leave the house. I was meant to go to this conference one day, and I kept putting my hand on the door handle to open the door, and I would try to turn the door handle, and then I would go and sit back in my living room, and it took me about 6 attempts to leave the house because I just felt so anxious. And then I went through a period when I was 41 of just feeling, I mean, I've shared this openly, feeling suicidal. And again, the doctors tried to put me on antidepressants, and they gave me a different cycle of antidepressants, and they made me feel so ill. I phoned the doctors and I just said, no, I need an appointment. I can't take these. And by that stage, I'd done loads of research, and I went in with a whole load of notes and the NICE guidelines and everything. And I said, I think I'm perimenopausal. I don't think this is depression. I don't think this is like it was when I was in my 20s and early 30s. I think this is perimenopause, and this is what I would like to talk about in terms of treatment. So, and I, when I looked at everything, I'd been suffering night sweats for about 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And I just thought it was my husband's a radiator and makes me warm in bed, or our bedroom is in the loft of the house. So maybe it's just, but even in, freezing cold winter nights, I was having night sweats. So I started on HRT, and so I've been on HRT for 18 months now. And then recently, I've never had particularly reliable periods, because I've suffered with endometriosis and PCOS since I was about 16.
Oh, right.
So I could never have gone by my periods as a way of knowing whether or not, I was entering perimenopause.
So, do you know, it's quite funny. I've just spoken, I've literally just recorded a podcast with somebody talking about endometriosis as well. And did you find that the symptoms did you experience symptoms quite young then?
Of endometriosis?
Yeah, of endometriosis.
Yeah. I was first treated for endometriosis when I was 19.
And were you actually, so what kind of treatment did you have for that?
So I had some treatment that should never have been done for my endometriosis and PCOS. I had 14 laparoscopies from the age of 19 to the age of 36.
Wow.
Like, my stomach looks like a pinboard. There's so many little little scars. And for PCOS, I had really controversial treatment in that my ovaries were drilled at the age of 22, which they should never have been done. They don't even do that now. And that caused me huge problems, because the whole of my left ovary became stuck to my abdomen through scar tissue. It was like a spider's web.
Wow.
So, yeah, but going on HRT has completely stopped my endometriosis symptoms.
Right. That's interesting.
Or it's just naturally died down because of my age. But yeah,
I think that some of it demonstrates anecdotally how different it is from one person to the other.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, and I mean, in all this that we're talking about, we've
yeah
down a little bit of a rabbit hole there for you, but yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So you've been on HRT 18 months then?
Yeah. And then a month ago, I had the Mirena coil, because I was finding over the last 3 or 4 months that I was having a 64-day cycle, and then a 14-day cycle, and then a 30-day cycle. And so when you're given progesterone tablets to take, and you're meant to take those for the first 14 days of every cycle, when are you meant to take them?
When do you? Yeah.
When your cycles are all over the place. So I'm really hoping the Mirena will just stop the cycles or regulate them. But I ran out of estradiol last weekend, and completely forgot that my chemist no longer opens on Saturdays. So I went 4 days without any estradiol gel, and it was really weird because my night sweats came back again.
Bizarre, isn't it, how quickly that's happened to me when I haven't had was away, didn't have a patch on for a few days, and I was like, I'll have a word, I'm making this up. I genuinely, in my head, I was like, I must be making this up, that I'm think that I'm getting night sweats again and that I'm like feeling more, because then I start like saying, you're not feeling that anxious again. No, don't be. I'm like, it just becomes like some oh yeah, I completely know what you mean.
It's crazy.
I ended up completely cold turkey when so I was waiting for the Marina coil to be fitted. And so I've had a Marina coil ever since I had my first child, like, you know, so I've had them in for over 10 years. So I'm on my third, but in the last two, it's been really difficult to fit. So my second one was difficult, but got it fitted. This third one, I like literally, if people will need to pause for just about a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
But I think it just demonstrates what I'm trying to say is what you end up going through to get yourself to this sort of, you know, and let's face it, you know, you do hope that it is a utopian kind of like, right, HRT, yes, this is going to be it. And I ended up having to, I had to wait then to have it put in under general anaesthetic because my uterus is shaped like a U-bend now. And well, I'm not kidding. I went to try and get it fitted with gas and air. I got higher on the gas and air trying to get this fitted than in any of my births. In fact, at all, like I didn't realize what gas and air did until like last year.
Wow.
So and then I was completely high as a kite. They'd not fitted it. I thought they had, but they hadn't. They'd stopped. And then the nurse, she sort of pushed me back into the seat and just went, I think you better just stay there. And she starts mopping up the floor. I'm like, I don't need to know what's going on. I'm pleased I'm high. And it's just like, I think in all these things, like you have so many conversations with women where they're like, I can't believe what someone told me this is going to keep going on for years now. What? Perimenopause, 10 years?
Yeah.
And you can really feel that sometimes of, are you fucking kidding me? I've given birth. I have gone through, I like had a horrific tear when I gave birth to my first child as well. Like, I'm done with everything and then perimenopause comes and kicks your ass. It's
I know.
just ridiculous, isn't it?
And we should say, for anyone who's listening that hasn't started experiencing anything yet, or even someone who's listening
and really bad now.
thinks we've had it easy because they've had it 10 times worse than we have. There is no normal. Everyone is so different. Everyone I've spoken to has experienced it differently. You know, I've never had a daytime hot flush. Never.
No, me neither. No, I'm the same. And yeah, and you're right. Everybody is so individual. And you know, so that big long list of symptoms, so I always give that out whenever I do any of the talks or workshops. And it doesn't have them all on. There's like something like 80 odd or something now. But what always gets me, when you go down that list of symptoms, the number of people that will kind of go, oh, really? That's like tinnitus. I remember this woman going on like going, tinnitus, what? I get tinnitus. Really? Is it? Yeah. And then another person will be like going, well, I don't get that. I'm like, yeah, but, and it's this thing that I think certainly my mum and my grandma have said this, that it was very much treated as a one-stop shop. You have menopause, we'll lift it off the shelf, everybody's the same, boom, brush that under the carpet, you're done. Yeah. Whereas it's so individual, it's untrue. You're absolutely right. Yeah, and I know that, you know, we're sat here moaning about, you know, our thing. There's always like some of the conversations that you have. I know. And I think aside from, you know, there's obviously ways of treating through HRT and then looking at lifestyle factors. But one thing rings true for everybody. Whenever you sit and start, it's like this. I love talking to someone that you just makes me feel like, you know, validated and like, I'm not alone in this. Yeah. And that's that. that's the thing that we all share, regardless of what your experience is, regardless of if you're 22 and early menopause, or you're, 55 and only just starting perimenopause. None of us are alone.
No.
And I think that's the message that has to go home to everybody,
Yeah.
is do not sit there in silence, and do not sit there and not talk to somebody. There is somebody out there that you can reach out to and you can talk to about this.
Yeah, for sure. I was just going to share, actually, and you can feel free to share your one as well, and then we were going to give our practical tips. My most frustrating symptom is brain fog, and the inability sometimes to just get my words out.
Yes.
because before I was really efficient. I like to think I was on the ball. I could articulate myself. And now sometimes I'm just like, who am I? What do I do with my life? And how do I get there?
Getting out of bed and making your bed's a triumph of the day, isn't it? Sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do agree with that one. I think not so much now since going on HRT is it so overwhelming, but certainly when I wasn't on any form of HRT at all, not even birth control, I call it decision fatigue, and the overwhelm of making a decision. It just was absolutely bonkers. What I would usually, like you say, be on the ball, snappy, boom, 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 absolutely fine. And that is what can be. And I think as well, it's important to note that it's still cyclical. You still go in ebbs and flows throughout, your weeks and months. And I notice it. I can really notice when, even though I don't have a full-blown period, I have a little bit of bleeding on the coil where I didn't used to, but I do now. I can pinpoint when that's going to happen because I do still track my symptoms as well. And I think that's a really helpful tool, because actually it can really make you understand what's going on. And it can also make you kind of go, wait 1 second, what this is. And it just helps to sort of settle you a bit by tracking.
Yeah.
I think the thing that always gets me is it's when you're making a decision. I find it like so ridiculously hard sometimes to make a decision. I can find myself at junctions and I've turned left instead of right when, like, I would 90% of the time have gone right.
Yeah.
Like, why am I suddenly on this road that's a bit of totally the wrong road?
Yeah.
And it's funny because some people are like, what are you on about? Like, pretty much a lot of people can do that sometimes when you've got stuff going on in your life, and it's like, yeah, I know, I get that, but it is that brain fog it can be pretty debilitating. And I think that's one of the ones that can really make you do that. Who the bloody hell am I?
Yeah, agree. Yeah.
And that's the difficulty. But I'd certainly say that was one of the things I noticed when I went on HRT. So I had the coil fitted. I had the coil fitted on a Sunday. I literally woke up Monday morning, slapped a patch on. And I'd say I was pretty textbooking. It was only a matter of days before I then started feeling better.
Yeah.
I mean, to the point of my clients here were like, what the hell happened to you?
Yeah, are you okay?
Yeah, no, I know, because I was like bouncing in and like, yeah, and I know exactly what you mean. I think mine was, it was the anxiety for me, like the really like it's like I call it overthinking. Like I can be prone to a bit of overthinking, but I mean it was just beyond
overthinking on drugs, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and that then would then make me make really shit decisions about things that I probably wouldn't ordinarily have done. But I'd certainly say the thing that really, really helped with that, regardless of HRT, is finding the right kind of stress management. And I say this to clients a lot about stress management, and I think that phrase can be a bit like, oh yeah, you think I'm going to be able to manage my stress? Are you kidding me? And it's like, no, I don't mean, something really massive. I just mean something small, maybe 10 minutes on a daily basis. I mean, your post this morning about getting up early and having that bit of time. And again, I love the fact that you're like, 5:15 might not be for everybody, and definitely not for me. But 6:15 is for me, and that gives me, it literally gives me 30 minutes before hell breaks loose in this house. And that's a great little thing. A cup of coffee on a morning has never tasted so good in silence.
No, you're so right. You're so right. It's brilliant. It is. Okay, I'm conscious of time. We've both got kids about to walk through the door. We know that not everyone can take HRT. I think I know what your answer is going to be, but what is the number one lifestyle factor that you advise your clients that are perimenopausal that can help them with their symptoms?
If I was going to pick one thing, I would say move outdoors. There's so many lifestyle factors in terms of, and there are actually some really good little basics that you can do, making sure that you're drinking enough water, getting sleep routine is one of the best things, regardless of being a perimenopausal, menopausal woman. But moving outside is such a tonic. If you can get yourself outside just for 10 minutes. This is something I work with. If I'm with a client who is not used to moving, or not, if it's so unbelievably new to exercise in terms of, a program, I'll be right. You're going to set your alarm 15 minutes earlier than you would do, and you're going to just walk outside for 10 minutes. That's all I want. And you build up that habit. And it's funny how building that habit over time can then actually become a little, that I use the analogy of pushing a truck. It takes so much to get it going, but once you've got that going and the momentum starts, you can build on that. You'll keep going, it'll keep going. And doing something so little, so damn easy that you cannot.
I'm free.
And free. Hell yeah, free.
And I was going to say, I think we should probably do a part 2 with all of our practical tips. But you mentioned my hour getting up early. I get up earlier. I walk the dog on my own I'm not listening to anything. So half an hour, no podcasts, no audiobooks, just me. I try not to look at my phone, and I'm just enjoying the outside, whether it's chucking rain or not. So I couldn't agree with you more with that one.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a good one. And it is, and that as well, switching off, just we're so good at actually we can generate our own stress by doing things like, I'll just look at my phone while I'm doing this, as if, suddenly I'm busy. Like, chill.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, part 2. We should do that. A strategies one, not so much as moaning about our symptoms.
Thank you, Anne, for your time. Where can everyone find you?
I am Mission 365 Coaching on Instagram and Facebook, and that's my webpage as well, mission-365.com.
Brilliant. I'll put the links in anyway.
Thanks so much. I have loved that, and I feel like I've a little therapy session almost.
I know. Everyone give this podcast a share so that we can make sure that other people don't feel like they're going batshit crazy. And if you enjoyed it, make sure that you rate and review the podcast, and we'll be back for part 2. I'm absolutely sure of it. See you later, everyone. Bye.